On the morning of September 19, 1985, Mexico City, one of the largest and most populous cities in the world, was rocked by a devastating earthquake that would become one of the most significant natural disasters in the history of Latin America. The earthquake, registering a magnitude of 8.1 on the Richter scale, left a trail of destruction and loss, deeply affecting the lives of millions. This narrative explores the events of the Mexico City earthquake, the challenges faced during the disaster, the response and recovery efforts, and the lasting impact on Mexico's people, infrastructure, and society.
Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, is built on the ancient lakebed of Lake Texcoco, a location that makes it particularly vulnerable to seismic activity. The soft soil beneath the city amplifies the effects of earthquakes, causing buildings to sway more violently than they might in other regions. Despite being situated in an earthquake-prone zone, many of the city's buildings were not designed to withstand a powerful quake, especially those constructed before modern seismic codes were implemented. The 1980s was a period of economic difficulty for Mexico, and the country was already struggling with issues like debt, inflation, and social inequality. When the earthquake struck in 1985, it exposed not only the physical vulnerabilities of the city, but also the social and political challenges facing the nation.
At 7:19 a.m. on September 19, 1985, the earthquake struck with devastating force. The epicenter was located off the Pacific coast of Mexico, near the state of Michoacán, about 350 kilometers, 217 miles, from Mexico City. Despite the distance, the quake had a catastrophic impact on the capital due to the unique geology of the area. In less than 2 minutes, entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble. High-rise buildings, hospitals, schools, and homes collapsed, trapping thousands of people beneath the debris. The city's infrastructure, including electricity, water, and communication systems, was severely damaged, complicating rescue and relief efforts. The destruction was immense. Around 10,000 people lost their lives, though unofficial estimates suggest the death toll could have been much higher. More than 30,000 buildings were damaged or destroyed, and hundreds of thousands of people were left homeless. The sheer scale of the disaster overwhelmed local authorities, and the initial response was chaotic and insufficient.
In the immediate aftermath of the earthquake, Mexico City was plunged into a state of chaos and despair. Survivors, many of whom had lost family members and friends, began digging through the rubble with their bare hands in desperate attempts to rescue those trapped beneath. Makeshift rescue teams formed spontaneously, composed of ordinary citizens, as well as police and military personnel. These improvised efforts became known as Los Topos, the moles, and they played a critical role in saving lives during the first crucial days following the quake. The government's slow and disorganized response to the disaster sparked widespread criticism. President Miguel de la Madrid faced intense scrutiny for the lack of preparedness and the delays in mobilizing federal resources. Amid the criticism, it became clear that the resilience and solidarity of the Mexican people would be the driving force behind the recovery efforts. International aid began to pour in as the scale of the disaster became apparent. Rescue teams and supplies arrived from countries around the world, providing much-needed support to the overwhelmed city. The Mexican Red Cross, along with other NGOs and community organizations, coordinated efforts to provide medical care, shelter, and food to the survivors. Despite the overwhelming devastation, the people of Mexico City displayed remarkable resilience. Neighborhoods came together to organize relief efforts, and countless volunteers worked tirelessly to clear debris, search for survivors, and provide aid to those in need. The earthquake became a turning point for civil society in Mexico, fostering a sense of unity and collective action that transcended political and social divisions.
The Mexico City earthquake had far-reaching consequences for the city and the nation. The immediate aftermath saw the emergence of a more assertive civil society, as citizens demanded greater accountability and transparency from the government. The disaster exposed the inadequacies of Mexico's emergency preparedness and urban planning, leading to significant reforms in building codes and disaster response protocols. In the years that followed, Mexico City underwent extensive reconstruction, with a focus on making buildings more resilient to future earthquakes. New regulations were implemented to ensure that all new constructions met stringent seismic standards. The government also invested in early warning systems and public education campaigns to better prepare the population for future seismic events. The legacy of the 1985 earthquake is still felt in Mexico today. It serves as a reminder of the vulnerability of cities to natural disasters, especially in regions prone to seismic activity. The event also underscored the importance of community resilience and the power of collective action in the face of overwhelming adversity. Every year on September 19th, Mexico holds a national earthquake drill to commemorate the disaster and to ensure that the population remains vigilant and prepared. The memory of the earthquake has become an integral part of Mexico's national identity, symbolizing both the tragedy of the event and the strength and solidarity of the Mexican people.
The 1985 Mexico City earthquake was a defining moment in the country's history, revealing the fragility of urban infrastructure and the resilience of its people. The disaster highlighted the critical importance of preparedness, effective governance, and community solidarity in responding to and recovering from natural catastrophes. As we reflect on the events of that fateful day, we are reminded of the enduring impact of the earthquake on Mexico and the lessons it continues to offer in the ongoing quest to build safer and more resilient communities.